Now, after the High Court order, Hindu groups have now installed a small Ganesh idol inside Hubbali's Idgah Maidan. The bigger idol will be installed by these groups shortly inside the Maidan as well. Preparations for idol installation are underway after the Karnataka High Court gave a go-ahead for Chaturthi celebrations at the Hubbali Maidan in a late-night order. So there have been a lot of developments in this case, and I'm going across to my colleague Ritu to get more clarity on it. Very good morning to you, Ritu. Could you recap for our viewers the entire timeline of events that have taken place at the Idgah Maidan recently? Because first the Supreme Court stayed the order first the High Court gave the go-ahead, then the Supreme Court stayed the order, and now the High Court says that, the Supreme Court cannot have an interim order as this is a property dispute. So if you could shed some light on this, please.
Yes. So as we are talking about the timeline in this whole incident, first thing is that this whole dispute, if you see, has drawn back in almost 1992 is when this whole dispute related to the Idgah Maidan started. From there, where you see there has been a lot of violence also that we also got to see in 1994 during August, in the August month, that was exactly on August 15 itself, where then open firing was being seen and almost 6 people were being killed because that was a kind of a violence that we got to see where these Hindu organizations came forward and they wanted to hoist a flag at the Idgah Maidan. But of course, when we are talking about the ownership of this particular Idgah Maidan, it belongs to the corporation. So that has been one of the reasons in the recent developments that we have seen how the court orders have come in place, where you see the title, in fact the ownership title of this Maidan is not a dispute at all. So that has been one clarity for the Karnataka High Court to bring out this kind of an order, saying that it is all to the commissioner of the corporation to take this decision of what exactly has to happen and kind of a permission that they want to provide for the installation of the Ganesha idol. So that has been the long dispute related to the Idgah Maidan in the Hubballi. But now you see a permission that has been granted for 3 days of Ganesha idol installation at the Maidan. There have been a lot of conditions as well that has been put forth to this particular organization who is going ahead for the installation of the Ganesha idol. So there are a lot of conditions that they are supposed to follow at any cost till they finish this whole celebration of Ganesha Chaturthi. But now for now, a small idol of Ganesha is being placed. So initially the organization named Rani Chennamma, in fact Rani Chennamma Utsav board had a plan of bringing the Ganesha idol with a huge procession and for almost 300 kilometers that we have learned. So that has been their huge plan, and it was supposed to be installed at around 1 p.m. in the afternoon, but all of a sudden that the conditions that have been put forth from the corporation and they have to stick by those conditions. That has been the reason there you have seen first a small Ganesha idol has been installed at the Ganesha Pandal at the Maidan in that specific area, which has been provided from the corporation and the revenue department. So that's the 30:30 feet area in the Maidan that which has been allowed for the installation of the Ganesha idol and for the Pandal, and it has to take place in that specific area only. So that's the small idol that has been placed, and of course a huge idol too has been placed at the Maidan itself. So that is a grand celebration that is taking place in at Idgah Maidan in Hubballi.
Ritu, how is the public viewing this? Are they worried that the secular thread may be disturbed? Also, staying on what Ritu has said, just a few more details about what she's saying. After the Karnataka High Court permitted Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations at the Idgah Maidan, the Hubbali Dharwad Municipal Corporation has agreed to give permission to Rani Chennamma Maidan Gajana Utsav Board for the installation of Ganesh idol at Maidan. The corporation received a total of 6 applications, while 1 organization is granted permission. Other 5 Hindu organizations will be supporting the board in celebration. So as Ritu was already telling us, that's going to be a huge Ganesha. It's going to be measuring about 300 feet in height, she was saying. Going back to Ritu, you were telling us that this idol is going to be installed this afternoon. But coming back to what I was asking, how is the public viewing this? Were they happy with the status quo in that Maidan? I know that namaz was being offered at the Maidan, and it is called the Idgah Maidan as well. Earlier, the Supreme Court had ordered for the status quo, which was a relief to the Muslim petitioners. Now it's, of course, been opened up for Ganesh celebrations, because there was also the view that why should secularism only go one way, and why can't we have a confluence of festivals here, as India, of course, is a diverse and secular country.
Yes, so as we're talking about the kind of a reaction that is pouring in from the locals is of course some kind of a fear that they also had, because back in 1994, you remember huge violence that erupted on August 15 is when 5 people in fact were been killed in the open firing, and the one person killed the very next day itself because of the kind of violence that erupted as they tried making an attempt to hoist the flag at the Maidan. So that has been the violence timeline that we have seen, how Uma Bharti, in fact, from UP had come down to this Maidan, and you have seen all big leaders, in fact, being part of that rallies that later point took out after the open firing, including B.S. Yediyurappa too. So that was also during the election period, very much where this violence was being witnessed, and then later point an attempt was being made for idol installation. But as said about the timeline that we're talking about, this is a particular Maidan which belongs to the corporation body, but this was being provided for almost 999 years on a lease of a rupee 1 back then, like almost a very big and a long story that we're talking about. So that is the that's the period when it was being told that this Maidan will be given for 2 days, that is for a namaz offering, that's only for a 2-day permission, but then later point it actually belongs to the corporation as spoken to by the Supreme Court as well. But now you see all this matter going back to the Supreme Court and then to the High Court. So this has been one of the clear reason why the permission is being provided at the Maidan, and locals have also very much accepted it, because this was almost from a past 5 years that they are also making this attempt for a Ganesha idol installation. But after all that, you see again ahead of the election, this permission has been provided at the Maidan for the Ganesha idol installation.
Well, Ritu, stay with us. We have some breaking news coming in about the conditions of that idol. Now, conditions placed from the Commissioner of HDMC for the Ganesha idol installation at the Idgah Maidan in Hubballi. The permission for Ganesh Pandal from the 31st of August to the 2nd of September till 12 p.m. Only 30 into 30 space limit to be used for Ganesha idol installation. Apart from Ganesh idol, no other idols, flexes, advertisement banners can be displayed. Orders of the Supreme Court and High Court must be obeyed. Okay, so Ritu, as you know, we were discussing, this is such a disputed Maidan. The history goes back to almost 30 years now, which is why these conditions have been imposed. As you're telling us, you know, this Maidan is owned by the corporation, to be specific, the Revenue Department. Now tell us, usually until this order, what were the kind of celebrations that were permitted there? Because even a couple of months ago, the Yoga Day celebrations were outlawed at the Maidan.
Yes, so in fact there has been from a long time the Hindu organizations were trying to seek permission for the Ganesha idol celebration in specific. Now this all comes after how a kind of an developments that took place in the Bengaluru related to the Idgah Maidan. So right after that, here also in the Hubballi, the Hindu organizations got that hope and were wishing for a Ganesha idol installation, but it all became a huge, and then the major developments came into place after the Idgah issue in the Bengaluru, where they were also asking for a Yoga Day celebration and then for an Independence Day. But of course, when we're talking about Hubbali's Idgah Maidan, one has been their priority was about the flag hoisting at the Maidan, which was later point back then almost in 1996 is when they were asking about the flag hoisting, and which was then the Anjuman Islam organization said that they will be doing a flag hoisting. But as said that it belongs to the Revenue Department the department took up that responsibility for a flag hoisting to ensure that the law and order situation is in place and no untoward incidents takes place. So then on, there has been a Independence Day celebration there, a Republic celebration there. So national festivals are being seen, but apart from that, it's only 2-day permission that has been granted to them. That's during in namaz to the minority community. After that, there have been no other celebrations of the other religion. But now this all comes into the place after the major developments that took place in the Bengaluru's Idgah Maidan. With that hope, and for the Karnataka High Court too being very much getting that clarity, saying that there's no title issue here, and thus this belonging to the corporation commissioner has all the right to grant the permission to whomever he wants to. So with all that, you see a permission is been granted to this particular organization. So in total, almost 6 applications were been given, and with that, one organization has seeked a permission, but meanwhile other 5 organizations, the Hindu organizations, will be supporting and will be part of this celebration.
Thank you very much for bringing us up to speed with that, Ritu. Now we have some more breaking news coming.